One election official started a rapid response team to counter falsehoods is the Republican Secretary of State of Ohio, Frank LaRose, and he joins us now here on Fox News. Mr. Secretary of State, welcome and congratulations on your reelection.
Thank you, Eric.
Of course. First, were there any significant problems that affected the vote and the results in Ohio during the election process in your state?
You know, nothing that we wouldn't have anticipated and worked through. Listen, the scope of the operation of Election Day involves close to 40,000 Election Day poll workers, staffing close to 3,500 polling locations. So there are always logistical things that happen here or there, but we worked through those. And really, things went quite smoothly in the Buckeye State. And happy to report that we had our election night results reported on election night. And that's something that Ohioans expect.
Well, that's terrific. To make it clear, the machines in Ohio are not connected to the internet. And even if something goes down, you do have redundant processes like the actual paper trail of a vote that can be hand counted?
That's correct. Not only can it be, but we require that. I've directed the boards of elections to conduct what we call a post-election audit. That's going to happen about 3 weeks from now. And that's when they count the hard copy paper and reconcile that to the electronic result and make sure that the two match up. We've routinely had an accuracy rate above 99.9% when we do that post-election audit. But you're right to say voting machines are never connected to the internet. But even that's not the final word. The paper is always there to make sure.
And you can double check that, of course. Meanwhile, you've got a lot of different claims out there. And what did you do? You started a 5-person team of 5 officials to be really rapid response in real time to what you see on social media?
Sure, and not just on Election Day, but in the period leading up to that. We've got members of our team that monitor social media, but also monitor traditional media, spot for when there is false information getting shared, and then combat it, because the best antidote to false information is truth, and lots of it. And we've had some great success stories about getting people to be able to stop sharing this false information by very clearly showing how it's just not trustworthy.
Yeah, you hit an interesting point. Someone puts up something that's not true, and then it spreads like wildfire on social media. I mean, that can be hard to combat for you.
Except for when you've got the facts on your side. Here's a great anecdote from this most recent election day. There was an individual who claimed that he was a county election official and that he was burning ballots. Now, we were able to quickly ascertain, A, this person was not a county elections official, and then the photo that he claimed was him burning ballots turned out to not even be from this year or not even from the state of Ohio. We were able to simply do a reverse image lookup.
Wow.
And again, thankfully, we were able to put that out there to make it clear that this was false information and also to make sure that it doesn't spread this person a prankster or whatever else. That's the kind of thing we don't take lightly, and we don't think it's funny.
Yeah, we should have that right now. Let's try to put it up if we have it, Mr. Secretary of State, so our viewers. There it is right there. It goes up and it says, breaking, Sampson Hyde, a voting precinct poll worker from Cincinnati, Ohio, suspected to have tampered with up to 4,300 ballots from early voting. It's got a picture of somebody. Then on the right, under the true, it's got his truck burning, and it claims that the ballots are in his truck, and they were burning and they're being destroyed. And you guys put up not true, warning. Don't fall for this satirical and very unfunny tweet. The integrity of our election should be above childish trolling like this. So that's an example of what you did to try and put a stop to it.
Sure, but it also happens in traditional media. There was a TV station in Cleveland that just simply didn't get the facts correct, claimed that last-minute changes had been made to polling locations. And again, because we've also trained our county boards of elections to watch for this, the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections acted quickly, worked with that journalist who thankfully revised their story, because, again, spreading that kind of fear just hours before the election to say that there was a last-minute change in polling locations is just not something that we're going to let slip by.
Yeah, I'm glad you got that change. And finally, I mean, personally, you know how hard the election workers work. They're nonpartisan. It's unbelievable what you folks can do. Do you take these attacks, this disinformation and false claims personally? What does it do, and does it make you more resolved to fight them?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, the men and women who work in elections are dedicated patriots, half of them Republicans, half of them Democrats. At least that's the way it works in Ohio. And listen, my heart goes out to those that are struggling right now to get their results finalized in Arizona. It's not that the people out there are, lacking professionalism or whatever. They need to change their laws in states like that to be more like Ohio's so that they don't have to deal with that. But the men and women involved that actually run elections deserve our gratitude. They work very hard for us.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'll just finish on that. They're like 80% of the ballots in Maricopa County came in on one day, on election day. In some states like Pennsylvania, they go for a few days because they're under state law. They can't even count any mail-in ballots until 7 a.m. on election day, while other states can have it already. So maybe some laws do have to change. It's not the people, it's the restrictions in some cases that are on them. Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose, thank you. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for joining us. Rest up for the next one.
Thanks, Eric.